Now to continue our story. As Steve Gardner was making his way toward Big Stone Canyon in the belief that he could find gold there, he was captured by the Lone Ranger. Several weeks later, we see the two miners, known as Bull and Jake, as they approach the Gardner cabin.
Don't figure we're calling on old Andy too soon, do you, Bull?
Steve's been gone 3 weeks, ain't he?
Yeah, but I
But
don't...
nothing. I savvy them Injuns by Big Stone Canyon. If they didn't scalp Steve for going in there, I'll eat my shirt.
They most likely did, but you can't be sure.
Look here, Jake. If Steve was alive, he'd have been back here by this time after finding out he got fooled.
Yeah, maybe.
And if he ain't been killed, it don't make no difference. Just so he ain't around.
Huh? Why don't it?
Because I've been looking things up. And I found where he's got both his claims registered in his pa's name.
Is that a fact?
Uh-huh. We're going to get Andy to sell out to us, or I'll know the reason why.
He ain't like Steve. I ain't worried about him not selling it.
Good morning, Tonto. I told you didn't have to knock. It ain't Tonto.
Nope, Andy. It's me and Jake.
You wouldn't have walked in here like that if Steve was to home.
This ain't no time for hard words, Andy. We got some bad news for you.
Bad news.
About Steve, your boy.
There ain't nothing happened to him, has there?
Well, it's... No, shucks, you tell him, Jake.
Wait till I sit down.
Sure.
I thought I was getting stronger since Tonto's been here, but I reckon I'm a mite weaker than I figured.
Andy, this redskin you call Tonto's been the means of killing Steve.
No. Steve? Dead? No. It can't be so.
I'm powerful sorry to have to tell you about it, but it's so. Me and Bull just heard about it today, so we came right over.
Go on.
You see, Andy, it seems like this canyon where Steve went is a bad place for white folks. The Injuns up there won't stand for a white man going in the canyon, because it's a place where a chief of theirs was buried.
And when Steve went inside looking for gold, them redskins found his trail and killed him.
Steve dead. I just don't seem able to get it through my head. It don't seem no ways possible.
As the trapper told us, he wouldn't have no reason for lying about it.
I reckon not.
I don't suppose you're any too well fixed for cash, are you, Andy?
If it hadn't been for Tonto, I wouldn't have had nothing to eat. And to think it was Tonto got my boy killed.
What we was thinking was that maybe now, needing cash like you do, you'd consider selling the claim.
Selling?
Oh, why not? You ain't got the strength to work it.
No.
And what if Steve was again selling it to us? He sure wouldn't ask you to starve on account of the way he felt.
I don't know. It don't seem hardly right. But there ain't nobody else that'll buy, and I gonna have cash for grub.
Then you'll sell, sure enough?
Give me time to sort of think it over, won't you?
Sure, if that's what you want, Andy. We ain't gonna rush things. Only...
Yeah?
Well, even if you do like this redskin that's been staying with you, I wouldn't think you'd exactly hanker to be living off him no longer. After what happened.
Just let me think it over, that's all. I'll give you your answer tomorrow.
Good enough. Let's get home, Jake. I reckon Andy'd like to be alone for a spell.
Uh-huh. We'll be back again tomorrow at just the same time.
I'll be here.
Good day, dear.
Steve, gone. The boy I raised all these years. There wa'n't no finer boy anywhere.
Andy.
A masked man.
Listen to me, Andy. Steve isn't dead.
But they just told me.
I know what they told you, but I'm telling you the truth.
But,
Here, read this. It's a note from Steve. I think it'll explain everything.
Why, he says he's been with you all this time.
He has.
But why didn't he let me know? Why?
It was hard on you, Andy, but it had to be done this way. If you'd known the truth, Bull and Jake might have guessed it. This way, they're convinced you believe Steve is dead.
But, stranger, I still don't
Does
see...
that note convince you that I'm your friend?
Steve says to trust you, mister, and I reckon what Steve says is good enough for me.
Good. I've learned a number of things lately. Enough to find a way to punish Bull and Jake.
What's that?
They plotted Steve's death, Andy. But if you do exactly what I tell you, they'll be brought to justice.
They schemed to kill Steve?
They did.
Why, the low-down, rotten skunks. Stranger, tell me what your scheme is.
back like we promised we'd be.
I don't reckon you feel much like talking business the way things are, but, well, after all, you got to think of how you're going to live.
That's all right, fellas. Sit down.
Well, now, you're taking it real sensible. Sure, we'll sit down.
Have you made up your mind yet?
I suppose rightly I ought to sell.
Why, sure, you sure.
And like I told you before, there ain't been nobody but you fellas ever gave an offer for the claim.
Shucks, why should they? The vein run out, didn't it?
That's what I can't figure. If the claim's no good, what do you fellas want with it?
Now, look here, Andy. Don't get the notion we're going to offer a whole pile of cash for the mine.
What'll you give me?
Oh, $100? We don't aim to be stingy about this.
It ain't enough.
Huh? Why, you're loco.
Shucks, don't argue with them, Jake. We'll give 200.
Nope. If you want that mine, you'll give 1,000.
I say that's twice as much as you paid us for that other claim.
Uh-huh.
Well, we won't
Shut up,
consider-
Jake. Andy, it's a bargain. We'll pay you 1,000. Though why we're so doggone soft-hearted, I'll be blamed if I know.
You got the cash with you?
How much are you carrying, Jake?
I got it if you don't mind taking folding money.
Folding money'll do me. Just a second. I got the papers here all ready for signing.
Good enough. How about witnesses?
Wait, I think I seen a couple of fellas just pass by. They'll do all right. Hey, you fellas.
All of us?
Step in here a minute, won't you?
Sure.
They coming?
They're right here. Howdy, fellas. Step in. Don't mind witnessing some papers, do you?
Shucks, glad to oblige.
Here's the papers, fellas, and here's pen and ink on the table. Look the papers over, then sign up and pay me the cash.
I'll look at them papers.
Them the right ones, Bull?
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, these are the ones, all right.
Where's that pen, huh?
Whoa, what the?
An outlaw.
We're in a man.
Stand still, all of you.
Are you-
They're coming. Careful, Jake. He looks like he'll plug you. I will if you slap leather.
What do you want with us? If this is a holdup, you'll pay for it, mister.
We ain't got no cash on us, stranger. Honest, we ain't.
I'll see about that. Line up there.
You can.
And keep still.
Take your hands off of me. I ain't got no cash, I told you.
Don't move. I'll search the rest of you. You there. You.
Yeah.
Nothing worth taking.
We told you we didn't have
I
any.
just wasted my time on you. I'm going. But if a man follows me outside of this door within the next 10 minutes, he'll get drilled.
Ooh.
Gosh, he never even touched the pocket that had my cash in it.
Well, maybe he didn't. We're going to sign these papers pronto and give the cash to Andy. Then if that crook comes back again, it'll be Andy that's robbed instead of us. Here, hand me that pen.
The deed was transferred and the money paid. Then, the next day, Bull and Jake, congratulating themselves on their cleverness, went to work with pick and shovel in the mine.
I'm going to rest a minute, Jake. Ooh, that's hot work.
Oh, it sure is.
The more I think this deal over, Jake, the funnier it strikes me.
It was a slick one, all right.
But the best part of it is that even when we get through to where the vein starts again, old Andy won't be able to say nothing. It ain't our fault we run into high-grade ore. And it's happened lots of times before that mines that were supposed to be worthless started paying again.
Yeah.
The old galoot kind of surprised me, though. I never reckoned he'd be stubborn enough to hold out for what he did.
Shucks, I thought he'd jump at the chance to get 100 for his claim.
Well, it don't matter none. We'd paid 10 times as much, we'd still be getting a bargain. Well, this ain't getting us nowhere, standing here talking. Yeah. How much further do you figure we have to dig, Jake?
Maybe 5, 6 feet.
Well, then, let's get at it.
We're through.
We strike the vein?
Yeah, look, them colors.
By golly, you're right. Jake, we bought a fortune for $1,000.
Yeah, look at that.
Stop working now.
What the same masked man?
Come on, men.
Well, Bull, thanks for doing that work for me. You too, Jake.
Steve.
We thought you was dead.
Well, I ain't, and I've come back to claim my
You
mine.
can't do it.
We don't care what happened. This mine was bought and paid for by us.
Even if you ain't dead, Steve, your pa had the right to sell it.
And he sold you men of mine, but not this one.
Huh? What's that?
If you look at your deed again, you'll find you bought the mine, you sold it, and sold to Steve some time ago.
Well, that ain't so. Bull, you looked at them papers, didn't you?
He's trying to bluff us. Of course I looked at them, and they was for this mine right here.
Well, they were when you looked at them.
What do you mean?
But you didn't sign the same papers you looked at.
Look.
The masked feller's giving you the right of it, fellers.
But we signed the papers was on the table.
Do you remember when I came in the cabin yesterday?
And held us up?
You were so busy watching me that you didn't pay any attention to Andy. He'd had a second group of papers prepared, and he substituted those when you weren't looking.
Boy, the dirty...
It was your own fault. You couldn't wait until the papers were signed and the money given to Andy. You wanted him to be the loser in case of another holdup.
Well, you tricked us.
I'll show
Watch
you.
out, Andy.
Oh, let go of that arm. Hey, you're breaking it.
Drop that gun.
There it is.
I'll take care of the crooks now, stranger.
Sheriff.
There, you're prisoner, Sheriff.
I'll see if they get a plenty. If we can't hold 'em on nothing else, assault with intent to kill, keep 'em in jail a mighty long time. All right, boys, bring 'em along to jail. Come on.
Gosh, Steve, I was sure glad to hear it when the masked man told me you were still alive.
Paul, when I first met up with the masked feller, I figured him to be a friend of these skunks. But it didn't take me long to figure different after I talked to him.
But how did he find out there was gold here?
He didn't know it till after these crooks started to work. He said we'd let them think they'd bought the mine, then they'd show why they wanted it.
Well, I'll be doggone. They showed us where the gold was, and on top of that, paid us back twice as much as we'd paid them for that no-good claim they sold us.
Paul, now you can go east and get all the fancy doctrine you need.
Look here, Stevie. I don't need no doctrine. The masked feller made us rich, and the Injun made me well. Them two fellers beat anything I ever seen.
Hail, Silver! Hooray! Come on, Silver! We're heading for Prairie Grove! Son is waiting for us! Hail, Silver! Hooray!
The story you have just heard is a copyrighted feature of the Lone Ranger Incorporated.